I will never be good enough for you. Will I? No matter how hard I try.
In 2021, we were introduced to a family who was way more relatable to people than we were ready for. The movie was Encanto, and although it wasn't a top hit right away at the box office, grossing just over $200 million worldwide before being released on the streaming platform Disney+, the members of the family Madrigal will likely go down in history as one of Disney's best. The original became the fastest movie to reach 200 million streaming hours on Disney+, and was the highest grossing animated film of 2021. The soundtrack also achieved unprecedented success, spending several weeks at the top of Billboard's albums chart. It's almost like a classic Disney miracle, just like that candle that keeps the family together. So greenlighting a sequel is a no-brainer at Disney. But how strong would a sequel be? Well, we just may have to consult an expert in the field.
Any chance you maybe know something about last night with the magic? You do!
Stay until the end of this video as I have a perfect theory for an Encanto 2 movie. Encanto was more than just a film. It was a generational impact. From the characters to the story to the songs, there was a connection for everyone who watched. And one thing the creators did so well for me was that it allowed for adults and kids to relate and enjoy an hour and a half of their time. Whether it was the animation spectacle on screen or the trauma some of us shared, this movie spoke on an emotional level that hit people hard of all ages. The culture impact this movie had for Colombia was held close for a lot of people and made those characters that much empathetic. It was the film most of us needed, which makes us wonder when the next Madrigal family adventure would be coming. In terms of an Encanto sequel, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who created the movie's catchy songs, believes it's a question of when, not if. If Encanto 2 pushes through, original Encanto director Jared Bush, who is also notable for directing Zootopia, absolute masterpiece if I do say so myself, explained on Twitter that the family Madrigal's powers may have limitations. So could those limitations be pushed in a second film? First, we need to know if a sequel is even possible. Though the company has been busy announcing sequels in development, such as Frozen 3, Toy Story 5, and Zootopia 2, that doesn't mean that Disney doesn't plan to release one for Encanto as well. Zootopia, after all, first hit theaters in 2016, and 2023 is the first a sequel has been officially confirmed. It took over a decade for Toy Story 3 to be released after Toy Story 2, and 6 years to get Frozen 2 after the major success of Frozen 1. If there is an announcement by Disney sometime this year or next, we can expect a release date for Encanto 2 to be at the very least in 2025. Conveniently enough, however, there is currently one release from Walt Disney Animation Studios scheduled for that year, and that is on November 26th, 2025, which is almost like Encanto 2's destiny, as the first film was released on November 24th, 2021, the same month, but only a few days later. We see you, Disney. So when could we hear confirmation about Encanto 2 happening? Well, as we have talked about before, animated movies have a much longer development and production time than live action movies do, mainly because of the time it takes to create these detailed characters and worlds that we as fans adore and find nicely hidden Easter eggs in. As you guys know, I'm all about them Easter eggs. Encanto is no different, as the colors and beauty of this animation is one of the best, while the storytelling is so good that anyone who watches gets hooked, especially with those catchy tunes. So I'm sure as a fan, you probably want to know the story and what characters we could see returning. When Disney officially gives Encanto 2 the green light, which we know is going to be very soon, we can likely expect updates to include the return of most, if not all, of the main cast. Part of what made the first film so successful is the characters and the feelings the Madrigals were given by the voice cast. Most of them returned to perform in Encanto live at the Hollywood Bowl as well. It is one of the best live performances ever. Lin-Manuel Miranda has also expressed excitement at getting to develop more story and more music for the family, so it's likely he would return as well. The creative team behind the movie is also interested in developing a show around the characters. Following the release of the movie, director Jared Bush called the idea of a Disney Plus series the right thing to do, as it would allow the audience to spend time with more characters, build on more character depth, and explore ideas that might not fit a movie scenario. So it sounds like he would be up to telling more Madrigal stories as well. But what about a movie? A spin-off show would be great, but what kind of story could a second Encanto movie have for the Madrigal family? Well, I have the perfect theory for a story for Encanto 2. By the end of Encanto, the Madrigal family learned what their weaknesses as a unit was, battling generational pressure and toxicity in the process. Consequently, they were able to rebuild their house, and Mirabel's gift returned the magic that runs through them all. Although Encanto's ending, which rejects classic Disney tropes, is already satisfying, it still poses promising plot lines that a sequel can explore. If you remember in Encanto's ending, the mountains protecting the village opened to the outside world, exposing the community, allowing for many more new possibilities. Meaning the Madrigals will have to face the real world in a sequel. But in what way, you may be asking? Encanto 2 doesn't have to leave the village to explore the Madrigal family even deeper. While people outside the village might visit it now that the mountain line has expanded in Encanto's ending, that doesn't mean the Madrigals will necessarily be heading out of town. It's possible that the next chapter in the Madrigals' lives will involve Abuela Alma's time as the family matriarch coming to an end. Alma has always been the one keeping the family together, but it's time for her to pass the torch down literally because, you know, it's a candle. Mirabel would have to step up to replace her. Encanto 2 could also explore the idea of others taking advantage of the Madrigal family. Even if the Madrigals don't leave the village in the Encanto sequel, if new people enter the town from far away, they wouldn't know about the gifts granted to the family by Casita. It would also be interesting to see how the village would deal with an influx of people who didn't understand the miracle provided to them. The conquerors that Alma escaped in the first place could still be governing other areas of the country, which could put the village in danger of a hostile takeover. And that is not all. Imagine if Isabella, who couldn't find a suitable suitor, yeah, that made sense, ends up finding the one true love, but he just happens to be on the opposing side trying to take over the Encanto. It would be like a Romeo and Juliet story. This would build conflict throughout the movie, with Isabella trying to help her family while also trying to appease her lover, and Mirabel trying to figure it all out as the new matriarch of the family. There's even an Encanto theory that wonders if any of the Madrigals could go down a darker path. While all the Madrigals use their gifts to help people, Dolores does not. She's the closest to a villain the family has, as the use of her gift can be detrimental to those around her. Her ability to hear everyone means that she spreads secrets and gossip among the family, and that could certainly lead her down a darker road, even if unintentionally. Dolores as an accidental villain, or even a purposeful one, could make for an intriguing sequel as well. But what do you think? Will you be watching Encanto 2 if it's made? What are your theories for the new movie? Tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the movies.